Hello again. One of the strangest political developments in British politics is the way in which the Labour Party, once the natural home of the working classes, has become a hostile and unwelcoming environment for ordinary working men, but only if they are white. There are plenty of middle-class professional white men in the leadership, and no shortage at all of women and members of various visible minorities. But white working class men, who used to be the rank and file of the movement, not so much. Personally, I find this a strange development. My parents were staunch supporters of the Labour Party, and both were from very working class backgrounds. One of my grandfathers was a bus driver, and the other a blacksmith. Both my grandmothers went out charing well into old age to make ends meet. It always amuses me when people who wish to make disparaging remarks about me claim that I'm a middle class man, affecting to be working class. In fact, I am 100% entirely working class man whose parents scrimped to pay for elocution lessons because they knew that speaking standard English was a great advantage in life. Clues to this are scattered throughout my style of speech. For example, pronouncing Christmas as Christmas, which is something no normal person ever does. The technical term for this, by the way, is hypercorrection. I don't know whether or not people still send their kids to elocution classes these days. Probably not. I don't think the received pronunciation is quite the key to success, which once it was. My early memories of the Labour Party are of a working class movement which was run for and on behalf of the working classes, who were until recently entirely white. Somewhere along the line, though, the party changed, and it's now headed by a knight of the realm whose father was a factory owner. To be fair to Starmer, though, at least he has the grace to maintain the falsehood that his dad was actually a tool maker that had trouble paying the bills when he was a kid. His shadow attorney general is Lady Nugee, also known more commonly as Emily Thornberry. Remember her mocking tweets about seeing a house with the English flag hanging from the window? This is not the Labour Party as I remember it. Labour-run Wales is, of course, a stronghold for all the new views held by the Labour Party. It's there that we see the latest manifestation of their dislike of and contempt for the working classes. The Industrial Revolution was powered by steam, which was produced by burning coal. The miners were once the absolute epitome of the labour movement. Does anybody remember the miners' strike in 1972, 73, and then in the 1980s? There was no greater left-wing cause than that of the miners. These days, of course, coal is a dirty word, and those who dug it out of the ground were villains who caused global warming. At the Big Pit Museum in South Wales, you can go down a former coal mine, and there is a big series of displays on the history of coal mining. The Welsh government has now ordered the Big Pit Museum, telling it that it must be decolonised, which means essentially that slavery and black people must become the focus, rather than all those working class white men who helped forge the labour movement in Britain. It must start teaching decolonised history through, and I quote, the lens of black, Asian and minority ethnic people. Much more important, of course, than all those tiresome little Welshmen who worked themselves into early graves digging out the coal of that mine. The prosperity of Britain during the 18th and 19th centuries was founded ultimately upon coal, which powered factories, railways and ships, and in the 20th century generated electricity and was used to produce gas in people's homes. It was white working-class Welshmen who produced that coal, the miners. Now they are to be sidelined in favour of a new political creed which has no conceivable relevance to the average working-class man or woman. Viewers might like to ask themselves how and when this happened. In the description to this video I give a link to a news item about this.